Do you believe in God?
Every description of God that I've heard holds God to be all-powerful, very typical, and all good. And then I look around and I see a tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia, an earthquake that killed 250,000 people in Haiti, and I see earthquakes and tornadoes and disease, childhood leukemia, and I see all of this and I say, I do not see evidence, both of those being true simultaneously. If there is a God, the God is either not all-powerful or not all good.
As a Christian, there's something that I absolutely love about hearing Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about this. And the fascinating thing here is that he's actually borrowing from God's standard in order to disprove God. Because the reality is that if we look around, we see evil, we see bad things, we see awful things going on. But if there is no God, if this is just a world, a universe of pitiless indifference with molecules smashing up against one another, then there is no good. There is nothing ultimately good with a capital G, and there is nothing ultimately bad with a capital B. It just is. But this is actually known as the problem of evil, and it's known that way because it's a problem. It doesn't disprove the existence of God, but actually points us to God and shows us that something's gone drastically wrong. Neil deGrasse Tyson has to have a full picture of what the message of Christianity is. And you've got to actually understand that from the beginning in order to be able to even try to refute it. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a fascinating thinker. I used to love watching the show The Universe. He was on that show, and I know that he's far more capable than me to even understand we can't bring a superhuman outside of the physical realm being that could bring all of this into existence. We can't bring him down to a human level, because that's essentially what we're doing by saying there is no good reason why what we see here exists. But here's where most people look at the situation that we find ourselves in with evil in the world and we say, if there was a God, he would do something about it. But I think even an atheist could easily argue that the maximum amount of darkness, pain, suffering, and evil that has occurred has been at the hands of human beings. Now, if God was to do something about that, that means he would be ending all human choices, all of our moral choices, essentially us. If you actually understand the true message of Christianity, God is going to do something about it. There is a time where there's going to be justice served, because we would look at the world, and everyone does, and sees something unjust. A tsunami is unjust that kills an innocent family. A murderer who goes and kills an entire family, there is injustice there. That would imply there is an ought to the way the world should be, and God is going to make that right. A crooked line can only be identified because we know what a straight line is, and think about that every time you hear this.